Roadrunner Records was a small Dutch label running out of Amsterdam, importing heavy metal vinyl from the UK and
Distributing.
it by hand across Europe. This is the forgotten story of Roadrunner Records. Before the fame, before the multi-platinum releases, back when it was just a hungry label searching for the loudest music on earth. Roadrunner Records was founded in 1980 by Cees Wessels, a Dutch metal fan who saw the UK exploding with a new movement, the new wave of British heavy metal. Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Saxon, Girl School, the sound was raw, fast, and dangerous. But in mainland Europe, you couldn't find these records anywhere. So Roadrunner began the way many great labels began, not by signing artists, but by importing and licensing them. Their earliest releases weren't originals, they were British metal albums pressed and
Distributed
for the European market. One of Roadrunner's earliest known releases was Motorhead's Ace of Spades, licensed and
distributed
in 1980, followed by Girl School, Demolition, Budgie, Power Supply, and a handful of NWOBHM titles. Roadrunner wasn't just releasing music, they were building a European metal pipeline, bringing English heavy metal to hungry fans who had never been able to access it before. The label was small, independent, and fearless, and it was just getting started. By 1982, Roadrunner realized something important. If they wanted to survive, they couldn't rely on only licensing other people's music. They needed their own artists, their own sound, their own identity. The search for the right band would lead them straight into the dark world of Danish blackened heavy metal. In 1983, Roadrunner discovered a band that didn't sound like anything the metal world had never heard before. Merciful Fate. Dark, theatrical, satanic overtones, high-pitched banshee vocals, twin guitar chaos. When Roadrunner released Melissa, it became the first true Roadrunner Records original release. This wasn't licensed, this wasn't imported, this was their first real signing, and it blew open the gates. King Diamond's haunting voice, Hank Sherman's riffs, Roadrunner had found its identity, dangerous, underground, extreme heavy metal. A year later, in 1984, Roadrunner doubled down with Merciful Fate's Don't Break the Oath. This album didn't just define the label, it helped shape the emerging sound that would influence black metal, thrash, and power metal for decades to come. For the first time, Roadrunner was recognized as a serious contender in the global metal scene. By 1984-1985, heavy metal was exploding, thrash was rising, underground American scenes in New York, LA, and the Bay Area were growing unstoppable. Roadrunner seized the moment. They began signing and
distributing
some of the heaviest acts in Europe and the US, including early thrash, speed metal, and extreme underground acts. Early roster included Whiplash, Artillery, King Diamond as a solo artist, Satan, and Fate's Warning. The label was slowly mutilating from a small importer into a future global metal superhouse. By the mid-1980s, Roadrunner had accomplished what few independents ever could. They built a distribution network across Europe. They built a brand identity rooted in the underground. They built a loyal fan base of metalheads who trusted that Roadrunner R meant music that was heavier, darker, and riskier than anything on mainstream labels. The seeds planted between 1980 and 1985 would eventually blossom into a lot of very popular bands like Korn, Slipknot, Fear Factory, Typo Negative, Obituary, and dozens of legendary releases. But it all began here with a tiny Dutch label importing British heavy metal out of a small Amsterdam warehouse. Before Roadrunner became an empire, it was just a dream distributor, passion project fueled by the hunger for the heaviest music alive. The early years forged the identity that would carry Roadrunner through the 4 decades of metal history, and it all started with a handful of imports and a band named Merciful Fate.